Guys, I believe it's very important to have a checkout number when it comes to when you're officially going to say that I'm finished with work and now I truly want to be fulfilled and I want to enjoy the rest of my life. Everybody has to have a clock out and or a checkout number from the Matrix or whatever job they're in right now so that they can finally start to live their lives on their own terms or financially independent. Now, this was inspired by a friend of mine who recently bought a nice little $250,000 house here in my city. That's not too shabby, man. It's a pretty penny, but he told me this is what he's always wanted. And I asked my mans, I said, "Are you happy? Are you happy? This $250,000 house, man, it's beautiful." I showed me the whole thing, gave me the house tour and everything. I said, "It's a beautiful house, man. But are you happy?" He said, "Doc, I thought I would be happy, but I'm not as happy as I thought I would be." And I was like, "Why is that, man?" He said, "Because I bought this house, but I'm never here to actually enjoy it." So basically, while everybody else is probably getting an opportunity to enjoy his property or enjoy his house, live a good life, or whoever he has living with him, he's always grinding, getting the money in order to be able to pay off the mortgage, in order to be able to pay off the expenses and things of that nature. So when he told me this reaffirmed my thoughts on minimalism at its finest. Like I said, you know what? Thank you for clarifying my own beliefs in life. But guys, I have to tell you, you've got to have a clock out number. You've got to have a checkout number because what you're going to do is you're going to find yourself in a situation like my man's wherein he's just going to keep running and running and running and running this rat race and being a part of the matrix and having jobs that he may or may not like, and he's going to be tapped out and he's not going to be able to enjoy the money that he made. Everybody else around you is going to be able to enjoy what is yours. Y'all think I'm funny when I say this, but I have a clock out number. This number may change, this number may vary. It all depends. But my number is $500,000. 500K, give or take. I'll give myself some leniency, but 500K was the number that came to me when I was specifically asked, "Doc, what would be the amount of money you would want to have, or assets wise and all of the above, for you to officially check out?" I told him 500,000. 500,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but I'm a realistic type of person and I like to set goals that I actually believe are attainable. Now, I'm not going to attain 500K sitting on my ass doing nothing. I got to go out there and put in that work. I know this, but 500K is not really that hard to attain once you find what you're doing and once you start putting the wheels in motion, investments and things like that. And they asked me, "Doc, why would you settle on 500K?" Of course, you guys know I plan on living in the Philippines or at least living abroad, so my expenses will be lower, budget friendly places, etc. So you understand why 500K is a reasonable number. But he was like, "Doc, how would you make that work, or why would you choose 500K?" I said, "Well, when I was crunching the numbers, because Doc does his numbers, you know that, in order for me to attain the amount of money needed for me to live a comfortable life in the Philippines, I told you $2,000 consistently every month. 2,000 to 2,500 USD every month. If I was getting it consistently, I would be good." So when I punched the numbers on the stocks that I have right now that pay me monthly dividend payouts, they showed me how much money I would need to put in each of those stocks in order for me to attain 1,000 US dollars per month. Those numbers were roughly between 150,000 to 200,000 at the current value of the stock. If I had this many shares at this particular value, this would lead to me gaining $1,000 a month. And I said, so if all I have to do is put $400,000 in the market, and again, this is rough estimations, guys, and this isn't where I would put all my money, but I thought if I could put 400K in the market, keep 100K in cash, keep 100,000 in cash, which is roughly about 5 million pesos, I could just live off the money that I have, or just have it as an emergency and utilize the money that I would get from the dividends paying me out to consistently pay me so I can live my best life. So I have a hoard of cash for me to hold, but I also have that money that's generating me income every month without me actually having to work. And I said, you know what? I can make that work. I can definitely make that work. Stockpile 5M, 100,000 USD, continuously getting that 2K, 3K a month. in dividend payouts. Again, you can't really rely on dividend payouts, of course. They could change and things like that. But in my mind, I felt that the companies that I'm invested in the moment are definitely solid, stable companies. So I could at least be able to have an idea that that money is going to continue to pay me out. Maybe it doesn't pay me out what I hoped it would, but it would pay me out enough to be able to satisfy my, standard of living, even if it wasn't clearing the amount of money aforementioned. Not to mention that I still have that 100K on the side for me to live off of, etc., etc., right? So when I tell guys, you got to have a checkout point, you've got to have a checkout point. Because I see a lot of rich people who are miserable. And when I say rich people, that just means you have way more money than me. But I see a lot of my friends who are miserable. And I'm like, bro, why are you so angry and why are you so tense all the time? Because it feels as though the things that they bought in their lives are things that they bought to impress others. It wasn't necessarily something that they bought for themselves. Right? So you bought this beautiful, beautiful house for somebody else, or you bought it to stunt on Instagram. Because, guys, you got to know I'm a millennial, so that's the mindset of a lot of people who grew up in my generation and those that are younger than me. There's a lot of this, I got to show people that I got it, or I have to prove that I have more money than somebody else. This is something you don't necessarily have to do in the Philippines, guys, or you don't necessarily have to do it abroad. In Japan and places like that, they don't really care about what you care to show. Most of them people got it like that. In the Philippines, you don't have to prove to anybody in the Philippines that you're rich or that you have boatloads of money. As a matter of fact, if you have boatloads of money, I encourage you to keep that on the hush. But you don't have to do that because they automatically assume that you have it in the first place. So you don't have to go out there and try to impress anybody over there. You don't have to wear your jewelry out. You don't have to wear, the fancy clothes. You don't have to drive the nicest cars or anything like that. You can live a suitable life with very little. Suitable with very little. Again, it does depend on your mindset and the way you handle and do things in your life. But I promise you, you don't need a lot to retire and live a good life abroad. I don't believe that you do. Now, again, you have to crunch the numbers for yourself. You have to understand your lifestyle. You have to understand your standard of living and things that you're willing to deal with and things that you're not willing to put up with so that you can figure out what works best for you. But once you figure out what works best for you, my friend, please come up with your number. Because if you don't set a goal for yourself, short term or long term, man, you're just going to be running the race until you finally to say, you know what, yeah, man, I'm good now. At least have an attainable goal. In the comment section, you don't have to tell me your number if you don't want to, minus 500K. Or if it wasn't 500K, it would be a consistent 2,500 to 3K, top end 5K a month for myself. That would be the number that if I was making that consistently on a monthly basis, that would be a number that would be comfortable for me to retire. People would be like, Talk, man, if you were making that kind of money, you would live a great life. Even in the United States, you don't have to leave the country, but I'm not trying to live here. I've never wanted to live here. Once I've had my first taste of living abroad and spending time, which my first place was Japan, once I had a chance of seeing a different part of the world and knowing that there's a different culture that I can immerse myself into and get to know and, I can meet new people and all that stuff, I said, look, man, everything about my time in the U.S. is going to be temporary. So I've set my goals, guys. I pray that you've set yours too. And even when you're setting these goals, guys, I'm not saying that you have to wait until you've actually attained this goal for you to actually check out. Reward yourself too. You guys know, and I know a lot of you guys do this anyways, but you got to reward yourselves as well. Me, I reward myself usually every summer. I work and grind all the months that I have to. Summertime comes. You guys know I'm overseas somewhere. That's me treating myself. That's me taking the necessary vacation to reboot, to get myself started for the shit to come. I set aside money specifically to spend on that vacation, plane tickets, accommodations, etc. And then after that, guess what? We back on the grind, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the grind like it is prime time. Because now I'm rejuvenated, I'm rebooted to go ahead and kick out these next couple of months or whatever it is that I'm doing for my work at the time so that I can enjoy my vacation when that time comes again. You see, I never want you guys to be miserable and unhappy because I've seen what it's done to people. It's created a lot of mental stress and mental health and burnout with a lot of my friends. And I'm seeing this now more than ever. They make way more money than I do, but they're fucking miserable. And I said, it can't be me, bruh. It cannot be me. And as a result of it not being me, I don't want it to be you either. I truly don't, man. So have your cash out point. Reward yourself, whenever you reach certain, short-term goals, man. Set short-term and long-term goals for yourself. Reward yourself at the short term. But when you actually hit your goal, man, just be comfortable with walking away. A lot of guys would be like, yo, man, I know I could do a couple of more. I could do a couple of more. And if you want to do a couple of more, that is completely up to you. But know that once your goal is attained and you've reached the FI in FIRE, which is the financial independence in the FIRE movement, or if you even follow it, whether you follow it or not, once you've reached financial independence, think about new things for yourself. Think about new things for you to do, because I don't want you to find yourself bogged down, miserable, just chasing a dollar, man. Trust me, you're talking about somebody who's been chasing a dollar since the day he was born. Since the day I knew about money and what it could buy me and the things that I want to do with it, I've been chasing a dollar, man. I've been chasing that damn dollar. But I know how to stop, chill, and relax and enjoy myself too. I know how to have a good time. I know how to say, you know what, Doc, you've done enough today. Go reward yourself. A lot of people don't believe in taking time off, man. A lot of people don't believe in doing anything because they feel like if they take time off, then somebody else is going to outdo them or whatever. If you're comfortable and confident in what you are able to accomplish as a man in whatever field that you're in, ladies too, you don't give a fuck about what everybody else is doing, because all you are is in competition with yourself. That's what a lot of people don't understand either, man. A lot of people are trying to be in competition with everybody else. Who has the biggest houses? Who has the largest shoe collection? Who has the largest car collection? Who has the largest jewelry collection? For us regular folk, who could do this, or who has the most of that, and who can flash and be flaunty, and who can get more of the attention on them than from somebody else, or chasing clout or whatever it may be. But you're talking to the wrong one. You're talking to the wrong one, man. So as my boys are sitting there loading up on Jordans and buying all that stuff, I thank them wholeheartedly, because they're boosting my Nike stock. If y'all want to go out there and buy the latest iPhone, which right now I think is the 13 that's coming out, if it's not already out, go ahead and buy it, because you're boosting my Apple stock. That's how I view life, man. I want to be on the receiving end. You feel me? I want to be in the place where I'm the one cashing them checks, man. Getting it on the back end rather than being the consumer. I want to benefit, and that's how I do me. Now, I know this video jumped around a lot and a lot of different topics and things, but I want you to understand, you got to have a cash out point. But all of the things that I talked about in between are definitely important in getting you to your final goal, your final destination, how you invest, how you live your life. Definitely making sure that you take the small victories, or accomplish your short-term goals, do something good for yourself while you're on the mission to your top goal. All right. And I love y'all, man. I truly do, man. And I hope this video finds you well. I hope this video provides some motivation. I don't know, but I love y'all sincerely, and I don't want you to be miserable people. And like, I'm only specifically saying this because I've seen it happen with my own people. People that I'm close to, people that I rock with, people who have had conversations with me. I don't want you to fall in that same circle. I don't want you to be miserable chasing this dollar, because sometimes it's just not worth it. All right. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please make sure you drop a like, subscribe, notify, all of my good stuff in the description area below. If you want to support the channel in any capacity, there's a thank you button. It should be somewhere at the bottom left, the bottom right, somewhere down there. Drop a couple dollars in the Good Docs books. Help me get $2 closer to my retirement goal. If you want to help the boy out, I will constantly continue to give you guys the best content that I possibly can to get you guys motivated to getting the heck up out of this shit, because this ain't worth it. I don't never want you to feel miserable. If you enjoy your job and you enjoy your work, you keep at it for as long as you want to. But I never want you to work a job because you feel you have to. I want you to work it because you want to, right? Not because you have to, but because you want to. As long as you got that mindset, I believe that you're going to always be okay. 500K for the Good Doc. Comment section below, you can tell me if you have your number. And if you want to share your number, please feel free to share your number. And with that being said, man, the Good Doc is officially out. At least knuckle paalam, which means I am going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. I sincerely do. Makita. Mabuhay. Peace.